Welcome to the first episode of Snobcast of 2020. We are not worthy of our guests today. And so we're with the cast and crew of Glam Mothers, which will be at the CLDV in St. Leonard in Montreal from January 15th to the 26th. It's almost sold out. So people get your fucking tickets.
We should probably
buy tickets.
You guys should probably buy tickets.
get your tickets too. It's like
We're super excited.
Think of a freebie. You guys should
my poker buddy bought his tickets already. Right.
We'll be in the balcony. That's what we could afford.
Oh my God, we used to play poker together in back at Dawson. And do a lot of thing
That's
that
when
we,
you had
we can't
hair.
talk about it.
Talk about whatever you want.
That's when you had hair.
They would use it for
I had
the
hair
trial.
back then. I did have hair. Not many more, but I had a few. I had a freaking mop of hair. I looked like Natasha when I had hair. It was that yeah.
So
Does that mean that I'm going to look like you when I get to your age?
If you're lucky. What do you mean when you get to be my age? Bella mia.
All right.
I've seen your birth certificate.
So the gentleman speaking right now
This
is writer and actor Tony Calabretta.
That's right. That would be me, yes.
Thank you,
Thank
studio
you.
audience.
You can stand up if you want to. You can stand if you want to.
We are standing.
All right. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's me. It's 'cause
You are standing.
You're calling me short. Is this it? I am standing.
We also have Antonio Diverdis, who's the director of Glam Mothers.
Hello, everybody.
They seem less enthused about you. So
You noticed that, right?
See, he didn't get as warm an applause as I did, right?
Because they don't like me that much. So I give them hell.
it's very theatrical of you. You have the scarf and everything. It's
Is
very
it really?
cool.
I'm just cold.
Yeah. I looked at Steve and I said, "Oh, he has a scarf and everything. That's very Broadway."
I come
Yeah.
equipped.
Claudia Ferri is here as well, actress in Glam Mothers, and I have to say just off the bat, like I watched Mambo Italiano like 1,700 times. Yeah. So, but amongst that, you're in a lot of other things. You're in Bad Blood. You're in you do voices for like video games too, which is nuts. They're big gamers, so
Fun.
I'm
It's
not.
fun. I just want to ask, where's my applause?
Oh,
I didn't hear
Getting a longer one because of that. What a
No, hold on. Everybody settle down. Settle down. I didn't hear you. Pick up the fucking microphone if you want people to hear you, okay?
Okay, sorry, I wasn't
so yeah.
holding the mic.
So it's nice to have you here. Thank you so much.
That she's heard anyway. Right, Claudia?
Yeah, well, I mean, now we're rehearsing for the theater, so
Right.
no mics.
No mics.
No.
Tony Desantis is here as well
Just
from
three
Toronto.
Tonys.
Yeah, three Tonys.
Three Tonys.
Yeah.
Honored to be here with the Snob. What's it called?
Snob review.
Snob
We're trying to teach them how to read.
It's okay.
It's a long process,
It's
but
That's why
getting
rehearsals
there.
are taking so
why
long.
it's taking
my
so
God.
freaking long. Yeah?
comes in handy for theater.
It does.
Brittany, is it Drisdelle?
Yes.
Yeah, Brittany
Yes.
Drisdelle's here as well.
Yes.
And of course, Natasha Gargiulo.
Yeah,
did we get a plug for Tony?
Brittany, you're the best.
Britannia.
Together, he said Brittany and Natasha, so that's why we did a collective.
Do you want your own?
Forgot to applaud for me.
Applaud for Brittany.
I want
Brittany!
Oh my gosh.
Yay, Natasha!
Yeah.
And Tony. We forgot Tony.
And Tony, we always forget Tony. It's
Anyway, eventually we're going to get to the interview part of it.
Eventually, at some point.
We do this many shout-outs usually.
Yeah, usually. But yeah, here, Tom, I'll pass it to you because you haven't said anything yet.
Oh, you should probably intro us too.
I guess so. You guys listening, the 4 people listening, know that.
When we walked in, we thought you were the techs for stage.
Yeah, I think we're better looking than those people.
I want to know why the middle guy isn't wearing a T-shirt called
He
Snob.
came from work.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't work today. I didn't work today. He didn't work today.
he's getting a couple of bucks from what is that, Tommy Hilfiger?
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Have
That's
your own
it. Product
t-shirt.
placement.
Future sponsor.
There you go. See, there you go.
For us. What happened to the
Yeah, really.
You brought us water, but no t-shirts.
Actually,
If
we
you
would
invite
like
us to the
knob
media
review,
premiere.
if you don't mind.
What was that?
We would like knob review.
Knob review.
Just kill the S and we're good.
So we got here Chef Tom and Hype Man Steve. He's actually a chef. That's
Yeah,
why
so
I'm-
where?
You're the
I
chef?
have my own
Yeah.
catering company.
Oh, really?
Right
Cool.
on.
Excellent.
Where are the
Excellent.
snacks?
Oh.
Do you know that we need a caterer for backstage every night here at the Glam Mothers?
Yeah, you see, there we go,
Right.
man. We're in business.
How big's this crew that we're talking about?
This is
Yeah,
it.
look
This
at
is
it.
it. And plus our stage managers.
Just,
That's it. He probably has more prosciutto in the trunk than he does.
Not only will you get a page on our playbill, but you'll also get free tickets to come see the show.
Oh,
You don't have to buy your tickets anymore.
beautiful. Not in the balcony. That would be great. That would be
Probably
great.
not. Probably
We're
not.
always
you
looking for
better seats.
sponsors. So
Perfect. Well, we can talk definitely after the
Let's.
show.
Sure,
yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
let's do that.
For sure.
And Steve is always a man of few words.
Yes.
Are you telling him to
Swear.
shut up?
That's it.
That's a nice way of telling the guy we don't want to hear from you. That's good. Good for you.
No, he usually says it to my face.
And hype man Steve. So once a month here at the CLDV, not on the stage, but in the smaller room, we put together comedy nights. So I host, and he intros me all the time. Well, Steve. So he's hype man Steve, but he doesn't really hype man anybody.
And comedy's done by different people.
By myself, and we've had
Yeah,
like,
we
And
know a lot of
You're
them.
also-
Like Guido Grasso and Massimo.
yeah,
and
Massimo's
all
done
those
it.
guys,
Yeah.
All of you are stand-up
Stand-up
comedians?
as
is that
well?
right?
No,
I'm not a
He's a chef. Weren't
He's
you
a
paying
chef.
attention?
Yeah.
I
Do
just
you
sit
also-
down and watch.
He's a
Okay,
stand-up.
so you're a stand-up.
You're a
comedian.
watcher.
Stand up.
Oh, that's it. That's your.
He's like the CLDV's Michael Buffer. That's pretty good analogy.
That's a good analogy.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So let's get to the nitty gritty.
Oh, that's it. Here's where I tune out.
I mean,
Okay, bye.
Bye.
the Glam Mothers.
Look, we decided
So-
to punch in for an interview. Huh?
Yeah, that's how you do it. This is a big production. You guys are here for quite a bit of time. Is it like how many shows in total?
We're doing 9 or 10 shows. The
Okay.
10th one is it could be a benefit show, so we
Okay.
haven't nailed it down yet, but 9 for sure.
Nice. And so, where did the inspiration come for you to write a show like this? And what's the show about?
That's a good question. Here, you answer that. You answer
Family.
it. Okay,
It's
I'm
about
gonna-
family. The importance of family.
Thank you. Yeah, it's at the core of it. It's a love story, but the actual premise of the play is about these two Glam mothers, Claudia and Natasha. They're related by marriage. They're 2 kids, of which one of them is Brittany. Vanessa, she plays our daughter.
The other one's Tony.
The other one's Tony. He was our. We dropped him a few
We
times
don't-
when
we
he was a
don't talk
baby.
about, my brother
But we don't
Tony,
talk
okay?
about him exactly.
He's the embarrassment.
He's the. I told you not to drop him again. But,
So
what are you gonna do?
Brittany has a little girl. Not Brittany, sorry, Vanessa,
Vanessa.
in the play has a little baby, and she is a good premise for taking care of family, bringing family together.
So Natasha's character Maria, she's been estranged from the family for many
Don't
months.
tell all the story.
Well, yeah, of course. We have to tell them. I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give away the ending. No.
Don't give it away.
It's a trailer. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
We
it.
could just bleep all of this out.
Exactly. Don't worry about it. I can do my own bleeps. I'll do my own bleeps.
Bleep.
Is there a joke coming?
Nah. Jimmy Kimmel. That's who you remind me of.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I
It was bothering me. I was saying, God, he looks so familiar.
It's me. It's probably the singing
I
that
should've
would be
just
more
shouted
James
out.
Corden.
Lifetime. Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. That's who you remind me of.
That's what I was saying.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
And so where was I now?
So
yeah,
you were.
and so-
the ending.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I was giving away the ending. Yeah. No, and anyway, so these 2 women that never really got along because of some curveballs that life throws at them, they
No, it's
have
not
to
just
work
a
together
curveball.
to get
it's
like
because of who she is. I don't like her.
Now you're giving it away.
yeah.
Now you're giving it away.
really?
See?
This,
I knew this was a bad idea.
Next question. No, but it sounds like a. Is it?
You think I give it away?
Yeah, it's like it's
Like,
inspired by real life events, shall we say?
Okay. Okay, it is inspired.
It's inspired by real life events,
Okay.
and pretty much a lot of people that I actually know and have relationships with today.
Okay.
So.
Is it challenging to bring a script like this to life?
Yeah, it is. It's challenging to bring anything up to any script to life because you start off with an idea, and then that idea you start to develop it into little stories and little skits, if you will, little scenes, and then you start to put it all together, and then you got to make sure that it makes sense, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't always, But
Memorizing your own lines are
yeah, that's a
is a
struggle.
challenge.
Right,
for me.
because
It's a
you're the
challenge.
writer and
Yeah.
you're also an actor in
Yeah.
the play.
Yeah.
So that must be challenging.
It is because when you become an actor, you want to leave what you wrote behind, and then you leave it to the director to give you, different motivation that maybe you yourself as the writer didn't even see, or even though it was right in front of you, maybe you just didn't see it, or you're taught another way of interpreting something. So
It's also challenging because we'll say one of our lines and then say, "This is shit," right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many people are actually in the production? Is it just all of you here? That's everybody.
That's us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
Yeah.
they're the ones on stage.
Well, yeah.
I'm the director on the other
you're
side.
backstage yelling at people.
There's Kate, who's our stage
five
manager,
of us.
and she has an
The,
assistant.
the Musketeers.
Wow.
So what? 7, 8, 9, I guess 8.
For what?
The crew, everybody together.
Yeah, there's 8 with the stage manager and the assistant stage manager. We're 8.
Plus the people that are
And
the crew
the
that are building the set.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, sure. If you want to get into all the people, designers, and we have designers, costume, set, and sound, and lights, and
Stalkers.
yeah, we got a lot of those too. Yeah.
We have a few stalkers, huh?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know you do. You're looking at him.
So it must be quite different than to actually be performing on stage, and a lot of you do like even on TV, movies, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So what's the biggest change that in terms of acting that you have to do on stage rather than
I would say keeping the intention true, real, yet projecting for what we call in French le poulailler, the hen house.
And
So that
also,
everybody
a lot of actors prefer theater because you retain control of your performance, whereas in film or TV, you can shoot a scene, and then if it's edited a different way, you may not even be shown in the scene, And
whatever's on stage
theater,
is on stage.
then you come out on stage, you're in total control right to the very end.
Yeah.
So
But a lot of actors prefer sometimes film because they don't have to memorize the full script. They'll memorize that one scene that they're doing that day, or the 2 scenes, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's an easy, and then the cut, you do it again, Here, you don't have a second chance.
yeah,
Once
one
you're on
shot.
stage, you're on stage, and you screw
Yeah,
up.
it's like you're pushed over the
I
cliff.
mean,
now you got to
it's-
fly.
It's also stamina.
hazardous,
Having the stamina to
Yes,
do, we've all
absolutely.
left rehearsals tired, and we haven't even gotten into the actual
Right.
shows yet. So
This morning, everybody walked in and it was like, We're
It's
tired.
emotionally draining. It's emotionally draining because you physically get attached to the role you're playing,
Yeah.
and you actually feel that you're going through whatever that person is going through in the storyline. But personally, for me, this is a whole new world because I'm used to just being live and putting on a microphone
Yeah.
and getting people's attention in the first 8 seconds. 'Cause
But
that's
she's a
what I was
natural.
always taught to do. So for me, memorizing lines and actually acting is something totally different from a world that I'm used to. But I'm learning from the best, so I'm very fortunate about that.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I'd never be able to do this. I always hated public speaking in high school, and that was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
How long does it play?
so
But you're
different.
doing
It's
stuff
so
Almost 2
different
hours.
from
It's
public
about
speaking.
2 hours.
I can cut it.
Right.
Oh.
But funny enough, it's like even people who don't like public speaking and stuff like that, as an actor, you get to hide behind the character that you're playing.
Yes, it's true.
So it's kind of like a little different. It's like it's not you up there. I see myself as like the character up there. It's not me. So
I'll actually tie into what you were talking about because it's one of my questions. So last night you posted on Instagram and on Facebook that this is both amazing and terrifying.
Absolutely.
So tell us a bit how your journey into theater happened and who pushed you.
Tony Calabretta pushed me.
Okay.
That's who, and
Points.
Tony as well. No, you know what? I've always kind of. I was in off Broadway a long time ago, but as a dancer, right? Because I was always terrified of being an actor because I didn't think I had it in me, and I always wanted to be a TV entertainment host or a radio host. I never really thought I had the acting chops to do this, and so that's where my career led me. And then all of a sudden, I got an agent, and she thought, well, you know what? We're going to stop you from playing the reporter roles and getting cast in movies playing a reporter, and we're going to actually submit you to be in roles where you can maybe carry a storyline. And I thought, no way. There's just no way. Because you know your potential, right? And I'm very real at what I can and cannot do. And then I think this just came along where I was supposed to go on an audition, and I wasn't in town. And then my agent called me again and said, they want you to go for the audition. Can you please make it on a Sunday? And I went. I came here. I saw Tony. I saw the other Tony, and I was acting opposite Claudia Ferri and Brittany. And I was just like, what am I doing here, right? This is not me. I have no idea what I'm doing. And they made me do a really tough scene. It's probably the toughest scene that I have in the play. And I walked out of there thinking, what a waste, but what a great experience. And I sat in my car, and I remember even posting it on Instagram saying that even if I don't get this role, I'm coming to see it because there's so much heart in this storyline. And it was the first time I actually met Tony Calabretta face to face, or maybe I interviewed him a while back when I was on my global days. But I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful play, what a beautiful storyline. But there's no way I got the role. And
here
then
we are.
I got called back. Here we are.
She was actually quite good, and we knew that, like theater and acting wasn't her big-time priority, and we knew her background. But when she was doing the scene with both Brittany and Claudia, we were both like sitting there going, there's something there. She's bringing in something that, we've interviewed other, auditioned other actors who were pretty good. They're all quite good.
Very good, yeah.
But she seemed to have what we were looking for.
Yeah.
And
I paid them.
And the money was good.
Not enough, Natasha. That other check bounced, so.
No refunds.
So much for Tony not wanting to be on this podcast.
If I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here.
Once he starts, look out.
Once I start, man.
Steve, quiet Steve.
Yeah, well, I have a question. Natasha, you mentioned that you were on off-Broadway. How about everybody else? Do you guys have other experience, or what was your path through theater? How did it all start?
We're going to go counterclockwise.
You're the youngest you start because you'll probably remember it. I started so long ago, I can't remember shit. So.
I'm very new to theater, so I share a lot of the same fears that Natasha feels, even if I have more of a background in acting. This is my first... I went to theater school, but that was...
They don't know.
I don't know what.
She's not Italian.
But see, I fooled them so far.
I'm going to see myself out.
I'm a method actor.
The cat's out of the bag.
I can't do the play. I'm sorry.
Brittany, are you telling me this is your first?
Guys, I gotta go.
Oh,
I thought.
She plays
she's amazing. She's amazing.
She plays my daughter, so just to get people, to believe it, it's like when I had hair, it used to be that color.
I guess she gets the looks from the...
I was like Krusty the Clown. It was
I'm the
fucking
mother.
said it was like, yeah, exactly, yeah.
The good looks, yes.
The good looks. Okay, thank you for that. Now you can all go fuck yourself.
I'll give.
Go ahead.
You can.
Yeah, no, and that's it. I'm very, very new to theater. I did study it, and then have mostly just worked in film and TV. So.
Okay, so you're just breaking in as well.
Interestingly enough, I just found out that she studied at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York, which is the house of the Meisner technique, which I'm envious of.
It was great, but everyone comes out of that school with a breakdown like a year later, and then you figure it out 2 years later. So that was my experience. No, it was a wonderful school.
And now what?
Yeah, and you're just like, what the fuck was that? It's a very heady technique, but it was an amazing opportunity.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest version because it goes on and on.
Forever.
I studied communications, specialization in filmmaking in Montreal way back when. Graduated, did some stand-up comedy, and then started working in the film biz on crew.
Okay.
I did, production assistant, set decorator, electric, you name it. And it was while I was on set that I watched all these actors, and I thought, God. A lot of these people suck. And I was cracking up the crew. I was sort of the clown on the crew, And so I gave that up and started taking courses and moved to Toronto and just started getting work, like one thing after another. I was very fortunate.
What did you do on crew?
I just said.
You just said
No,
it. Pay
Production
attention.
assistant,
production
electric
assistant,
set decorator, props.
Sorry.
Yeah,
You name
You name it.
I was mesmerized.
This was supposed to be the short version.
Well, they keep interrupting me.
I was born in 19.
But anyway, I had a pretty good career up and down. But I worked with Tony a few times and Claudia as well. And I wanted to say something about the group that we have here. There's a lot of trust in this group. I think it's a great group. And I was actually worried because Ryan Reynolds once said that, the first day you go on set, you look for the asshole, and if you can't find it, it's probably you. So I was a little nervous. I thought, shit, there's no assholes here, so I guess I'm the asshole. But no,
That's funny.
it's a great group.
After last night's email, yeah, you kind of were
I
the
kinda
Yeah, you
was
were
the
a big asshole. I was just saying.
I mean, people think I'm
Read your
really
emails,
kind,
read your
but I'm
emails.
actually more like the Clint Eastwood character in Gran Torino. Get the fuck off my lawn. I'm that old guy.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's great to work with you again, Tony.
Pleasure.
We worked together in Ciao Bella
I know Omerta.
and Omerta.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Just name dropping.
Yeah, just I have the whole resume here.
Another one. You have another question?
No.
Everyone answered or not? I don't know.
We all
No, I haven't.
I forgot where we were.
It's okay. We can move on.
We've heard.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
We've heard Tony
my turn?
Ferri
It's your turn. Go ahead.
many
Does it
times.
say beauty before age?
You know, Claudia.
I don't know. It's your turn. We're going in fucking order here. Just get over yourself.
So my training is I went to acting school, theater.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. That's it.
Leave your
No,
phone
no,
and
no.
resume
I'm very
at the
docile,
door.
so when they say cut, I leave.
No.
Okay, bye. So you're gonna find somebody else to play?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Hold on a second. Let me just check my.
night you just don't show up.
No, but I tell them the night
You know,
before,
there's a
so they
cleaning
have
lady
time
who
to.
found her script the other day. That
What?
Spanish girl.
Did you
I
see
saw
her
studying
recite
the lines.
studying
She
the
was
line?
walking up and down.
That
She's
monologue.
not bad.
That
She's really good.
Yeah.
we
No.
go,
Okay.
guys.
All right.
Anybody cares to know where I came
Yes.
from?
Yes.
anyway?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I
A
did.
lot of love between us.
This is what we have to deal with.
Classical theater training is what my training was, but I was kicked out with thumbs up. They knew that I was going to be working, and they said, "You don't need to be here. Just go, and you're going to be working." And that's what happened. I wasn't sure enough, so I went to New York and I went to HB Studio. That's why I'm envious of you going to Neighborhood Playhouse. But HB's great. HB was great. And then I came back and started working mostly in film and television. My first official professional play was here in Italian, and with Mastro Pasqua and Dino Tavarone. No, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was in Italian, so that was cool. It was kind of a buffer to say, okay, I can do this.
When was that?
That
Like at
was
the beginning
like
of your career?
no, that's
And how
like
did
maybe
you know that?
I would say maybe 12 years ago.
That play?
wow.
I came and see it.
Maybe 12 years ago. Mastro Pasqua was still alive anyway. May rest in peace. And then I worked a few times with Tony as first as his daughter, then as his cousin, and now as his wife.
Why do I feel like
I'm moving up,
Incest.
Going
but
up in the world.
Oh my God.
I have a rider. I will never be his mother.
Is that how the Italians do it?
Love Italian style.
If he offers you chocolate, don't take it.
I gotta say, theater is definitely scary because it's you're pushed and you gotta fly. So, but I'm with a great group. Looking forward to doing this. Natasha's great. Brittany's freaking awesome, and Tony is.
Tony is.
I'm passable.
And he's passable. No, everybody's great, and I love Tony's insight. He's really helping us get the best out of.
That's
Each of
amazing.
us.
You guys seem like you love each other, I guess. more or less.
All an act. That's how good we
Yeah,
are.
wow, it's fantastic.
She feeds
I
us.
studied at Pee Wee's Playhouse. Not
Did they get that? That you studied?
At Pee Wee's Playhouse.
I was a please. Yeah.
So, Brittany, what you have to take from what she said is now you're playing my daughter. You're on your way, my dear. You're on your way.
I see where my career's headed.
That's
On your
kind
way.
of creepy.
Run while you
Yeah,
can.
it is kind of creepy. Who gives a shit?
Bodes well.
Who said I'm not creepy? Fuck, I
You
never
are
said it.
creepy.
You know, I never
This-
said it.
This next question is directed at anyone who wants to answer it, but like, what makes a good not screen partner, but stage partner?
Trust.
Listening.
Trust is a big one.
Okay.
I just think it's chemistry. You
Chemistry.
either have that chemistry with someone or you don't.
When I did the you think?
And most importantly, knowing your lines.
Oh, that's his version.
Can
but
you see why he keeps saying that?
yeah,
That we're in trouble.
Actually, I would
Your
like to
lines.
share with you that when I came to the audition here, and there was Natasha was there, and Britt showed up, and you were first, I believe, and then you came. But when you ask me what a good actor, what makes it wonderful to play with someone, is the way they listen to you or the way they are present. And she was, you blew me away. And it was just so easy. First of all, I walked in and I said, weren't you the one who gave me a ride one day? And you gave me a lift.
She was on the side of the highway. Felt bad.
In her cardboard
Wow, I was like,
box.
that's good acting. I was like, wow.
And
But it was a nice cardboard box.
She was wearing a garbage bag, I think.
It's really intimidating, though, especially when you come into this community and you don't know anyone, and right away you see like
Theater or the Italian community?
Well, no, theater, when we're talking about here, is that I remember that audition, and you and Brittany were talking in the corner, and I knew nobody, and I sat there, and I walked into the room, and I'm doing my scene with Brittany, and she's like angry at me because the scene calls her to be angry, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, where does this anger come from? I don't even know this girl. I just met her like 30 seconds ago, but all of a sudden, she's in character like that, and I'm thinking, holy crap, you've got to let go of all of your fears, your inhibitions, and just go into this character. And she doesn't care. Like there's no fear. She just takes on the role, and she's that person. And I was like, I'm supposed to cry.
That's sweet of you. Or you think?
I don't know how to feel about that.
I think she called you nuts, but that's just the way
Don't piss her off.
She's great.
Don't eat my snacks.
As
No, go ahead.
are you guys like for since you guys, I mean, the Glam mothers, do you guys channel some personal
mean,
experience into
channel?
that? No,
Look
no,
at
not
them.
chan-
Mean channel.
no, not channeling like that. I'm talking with my hands. I know we're on a podcast and nobody can see this, but do you guys channel like some of your grandparents, somebody, you know? I mean, I know you're not Italian, but
No, it's in the present. Really, the script itself carries all that. I'm speaking for myself, Natasha, but yeah, I love my grandmother. Maybe there's one line somewhere, which I'm not going to say, where I'm relating to my own grandmother. But most of the time, it's the quality of Tony's writing, which we didn't get into your theater training, but never mind.
So okay. IMDb.com.
And really, what he writes
That's
really
a short version.
goes into it. It goes through. It's visceral, and it's easy to transmit, because really we don't realize that we're grandmothers when we're grandmothers.
No.
We just
No, I don't think I'm playing the role of a grandmother,
Me
but
neither.
I really do feel like I'm playing a role that is loosely based on certain aspects of my life. Very similar to Maria, I'm divorced. Not a lot of people know the reason why I was divorced, and I think a lot of people have a perception of what happened, and they don't really know the truth as to why the marriage failed. I think I'll have some explaining to do with my daughter eventually one day. And after my divorce, I did do that whole Eat, Pray, Love, where I went to Tuscany to find myself and kind of regain my youth. So there's a lot of similar explorations that I've done according to Maria.
What you don't know is that I've been stalking you for the past 12 years, and that gave me the inspiration to write that role. Surprise, you got it! You know?
One day when I was stalking her,
We
Tony
bumped
yells
into
out,
each
"Hey,
other.
that's my bush! Get out of there!
outta there."
That's my spot."
And he needed a bottle to pee in, so it was all good. We worked it out. It
La
was
la la la
teamwork.
la 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 la.
Good God, I'm glad I wasn't there.
You were driving. You just don't remember. You were driving.
That's right.
But really, what's your theater training?
I went to theater school back in
Which one?
and Dawson. From the
it's a
from the
great
dome.
school.
It was a great school, great training, and for the longest time, until I graduated, I only did theater. I refused. I refused to do film, television. I didn't care for it. All I did was theater up until the mid '90s, when I wrote my first play, "Damn Those Wedding Bells," and it was done at the Centaur Theater, and it was a huge success. And people were telling me, "You have to get an agent. You have to." So I gave in, and like one of the first things I did was Omerta that summer. Like we did the show in January, February, whatever. That was one of the first things I did, Omerta, and that's where I met Tony. And you were on that too. But I don't think we ever. Yeah, but we never really. But we and.
Oh, you're doing stuff with Ron.
And that was it. And then since then, it's been like tons of stuff, tons of TV and film. But I always keep on trying to go back to the theater. And
There's something that pulls you back to it.
I love it. To me, it's like it kind of like when I do theater, it reminds me why I got into acting in the first place. Because film is very technical. Film it is fun too, and it's good, and it's got it's got a lot of good stuff that I take from that. But theater, it's like Tony was saying, it's like once the lights go up on you, and you're up there, it's it. You have to tell the story, and you have to do it, and good, bad, or otherwise, you're on your own, and like you have control of exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it within the confines of the rehearsal, obviously, and the script. But it's up to you to get it out there, and that's what I love about it.
And your feeling of accomplishment in theater. I don't have a huge theater background, but I have done some, and it's hard to get a feeling of accomplishment in film.
Yeah, because
there's
everybody else.
never an ending, and there's always another ladder to climb. There's always another level to it, and it can be discouraging. Whereas doing a play, there's so much pride that you were able to put yourself out there.
It's as raw as it gets, really. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just
it
there
is
and you
exactly.
put it-
You know what you
live
did.
in
You live in the moment, and like you get that immediate response from the audience, whether you want them to laugh or cry or whatever feeling you want them to have. You're able to do it. Whereas in film, sometimes you come out. I was on set for like 12 hours. I did this like 3 scenes and like did them like 14 different fucking ways, and I'm not sure that I do that and whatnot. And then like you see the end product and like. That was it. It's like 2 words out of the whole thing, and
It gets lost. Like
it's
the
not.
whole
It
machine
could
of
get
it.
lost.
It could, yeah.
You're
yeah.
talking and the camera's on the lead, and
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
editing. Where's my close-up?
Yeah. But that's why if I had a choice between doing English and French TV or whatnot, I would prefer French, because I think some of the better stuff that we did, well, I can speak for myself, and I know you've done a lot of French stuff too, was in French. I mean, like big roles and juicy roles where you can at least get into it. A lot of the English work that comes into Montreal, it's like, can we get
She's
number 73 there in the corner? Just move over a bit when the lead passes by. Say thank you. All right, and that's my.
Just don't look at him in the eye.
Don't look at him in the eyes. Exactly.
You had bigger roles than that. Come on.
Yeah, no, I have, but I'm saying,
all have.
but I'm just saying,
Compared
feels
to
like.
theater, in theater,
Yeah.
You have to
But
go
no,
to
but even in
Toronto.
English, I've had some bigger roles, but not like in French. Not like in French. It's like, but theater is where it's at, man.
Right. Well, Tony, while you're talking, I have a question for you. Everyone's been hyping up your kind of writing ability these days. Everyone seems to really enjoy what you put on paper.
Who said it?
Can't spell, though.
Who said it?
Yes.
Who said it? I owe you how much? How much? How
I'll
much?
tell
how
you
much?
later.
All right, babe. Ooh,
Off the record.
I like that.
So my question is, what's your creative process to kind of reach in and get all that on paper?
Well, it's that the fear of having to do something. I got to get it finished. No, it's just like I said. I get inspired by different things and for different reasons and stuff. And I don't know. I love it. I love the solitude of the writing. I know it sounds weird, but it's like when It's the most peaceful, quiet time. Like literally, like I me, myself, in either the kitchen table or in my office or wherever. I could be anywhere,
Yeah.
and I just sit there and I write and I think, and like it's all about, and then I just love to see it coming from an idea to a play. I just love that.
Can you tell us what kind of made you write Glam Moms?
Well, you know what? Without spoiling anything, I'm just gonna, like I said, it was based on real life situations and circumstances and people that I know and events that have happened in my life in the past.
Can
I'd
I
say
ask you a
couple of
question,
years.
Tony?
Yeah.
What made you write your first play?
My first play, I tell you, I was in New York. I was in New York visiting a friend of mine, and I met her family, and they were like the most typical New York people that you can imagine. Like, and their real names were, the grandmother was Lily, the mother was Libby, and the daughter was Lana. And so and the daughter was a hairdresser. And so I would see these three women go, and like it was insanity. Like, I mean, they had all of the they had all these idiosyncrasies, and it was like the grandmother was like in her 80s, and they had to take her to Atlantic City at least once every couple of weeks to gamble, and like the mother would hide cigarettes from the daughter would not go out without any kind of sunscreen, even in the winter. It was insane. And everything was like, oh my God, did you see what Mom was? And so the drama was like, I witnessed this, and I go, if there was some poor fucker, some poor guy amidst these women, how is he going to survive it? And so that gave me the idea, hey, you know what? Why don't I write a play about this guy? And and so the premise I gave was that they were getting ready for a wedding and whatnot, and the insanity ensued. But that was the inspiration for my first play. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was curious.
I like how you guys are all getting involved in asking him questions.
Yeah, well, stop it.
Just give us a cut.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I had
Still waiting for ours.
I got a two-part question. Now you actresses, actors, and so forth, and who are some of your influences? Like, who did you look up to, like, growing
Natasha,
up?
you can say it, then you can say
Your stalker.
Tony Calabretta.
Tony Calabretta.
You don't look up.
Tony Calabretta.
And Tony Calabretta, yes, sir.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to think about that for a little bit.
I've always loved Sarah Paulson and Jessica Lange.
You actually remind me of both of them.
Well, Jessica Lange definitely.
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 Yeah, they've always. I also admire anyone who's been able to have like a really successful career without having their personal life destroyed.
Right.
Or
Well, that leaves everybody out of this table. Next question.
What about you?
When I started acting, Al Pacino was a big influence, and then one day I got cast in a movie, Sea of Love, and I got to meet him in Toronto. We did a table read, and I was like, a basket case. And Mr. Pacino is so blab. I'm a big fan. And anyway, we shot the movie, and it turned out he was a prick, a real prima donna, and it just hit me, that as much as you can, admire somebody for their work or whatever, doesn't mean they're necessarily a nice person, but anyway, that sort of burst my bubble for a while.
Oh, they say don't meet your heroes.
That's right. Yeah.
Don't meet your
Don't meet your heroes, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
So
this.
that was
But you met me, Claudia, so it's okay.
Okay.
Hey. I give you competition.
Tony
fella. Don't worry
Calabretta.
about it. I give you competition.
For me, it was I got not the bug. I guess it's something chose me, and my first role model was Meryl Streep. Okay. Everything I modeled was pretty much through her and De Niro, not because of who they were, but how they conducted themselves with the press. Sarah Paulson is an actress that I admire as well. I admire also Brittany Drisdelle. How do you say your last name?
are you sure you admire me?
I do. No, actors that that have a real versatile
Okay.
range, or that have this charisma. I modeled, like Meryl Streep. I read somewhere that she did her first film when she was 30. So I was 14 shoveling pig manure, and I got fed up one day and I leaned on my rake and I said, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to be on the big screen. And lo and behold, I brought my father and brothers and sisters, because my mother had just passed, to the premiere of a film of which I was fourth credit, and the first three were Aidan Quinn, Donald Sutherland, and Ben Kingsley.
Wow.
So that was really cool. But the way she conducts herself in her discipline, because she's obviously very disciplined, so they're the main ones. There are other ones. Obviously, anyone who is compelling, someone who is, you just see truth. You don't see the person, you see the character. I strive to be like anybody who inspires me.
That's amazing.
Yes. See, Brittany?
Now who's paying who? I don't have money, eh?
What's that?
I'm broke. You know that, right?
I don't care about your
can't pay
broke.
you after this.
I care about your rich, your rich
so sweet.
qualities. And it's like, just buckle up, baby. As soon as you hit the
I didn't
movie,
forget about
you're
you.
awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are going through my mind. Do you want to go to Tony first?
He's spoken enough.
I can tell you his role model is himself.
Okay, perfect.
Oh my
Wow.
Lord! Everyone is
Wow.
so.
You know.
Wow! Wow! The knives are the.
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Wow!
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, we kind of asked you who,
What?
like, your influence was, but I mean,
I
like,
said that given the time that I grew up, it was like people like De Niro and John Malkovich and Jack Nicholson.
Kinda looked like John
and these
Malkovich.
guys, yeah. So all these good actors that came from a theater background and made the jump onto the big screen and did it with such.
And the other Tony, I mean, as far as directing, is there some like a theater director that you admire? Is it more film or
a couple of them, like Alfred Hitchcock,
okay.
and people like John Ford. There's a lot of others, but those two are the ones that really kind of moved me. And I've watched all their films more than 5 or 10 times.
Nice.
And I find that when they have something to say, they said it well, and there's a peculiar way for them to be able to be creative at the same time, because directors, people think, oh, what is a director? He just sits there and tells people what to do, what not to do, and so on. But it's more than that. It's being able to inspire, being able to guide and to lead and to make sure that everything, like whatever the writer wrote, the script or the play, is well represented, basically, so they're really amazing directors, yeah.
Now it's back to you, Natasha.
Wow. So I'm on the other side, right? Because I've been interviewing celebrities for the last 20 some odd years. So I've had the opportunity to talk to Meryl Streep and the George Clooney's and the Spielbergs. And I always find that the Spielbergs and the directors are always the one with the better stories than the actors, because they're the ones with the story and they're the ones who know how to guide it. But when I think back to like what really inspired me, is I'm a huge musical buff. So I remember as a child sitting with my mother, and every year we would watch it, and I don't know if it dates me or not, is The Sound of Music with Julie Andrews,
we did
right?
too.
Right? So The Sound
Classic.
of Music, classic, and The Wizard of Oz. And those are the two things that I remember as a child being like so drawn to, because I was saying they're such great performers. They know their lines, they can dance, they could sing, and they make it look so effortless and flawless, and it's fun. So I think I have a huge respect for them, because now that I'm in it, not that I'm singing and dancing, but I realize how tough it is.
You didn't see the rewrites.
What?
You'll
get it after. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I realize how
Last-minute
difficult
music.
it is. So I have a lot of admiration. I have a lot of admiration for women in film, especially today. I find that there's a huge movement with women in film, and I have total respect for women like Charlize Theron and Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, who have totally turned their careers around, not just as actresses, but as executive producers. They're creating their own stuff, they're telling their own stories, and they're taking control of their content, because they're not making a man anymore in this Me Too movement and this Time's Up movement take control of what the message they want to relay. So I have a lot of respect for them and what they're doing.
Natasha, you can executive produce my next film.
You got it.
Just find me the money.
Okay. Show me the money. Who said that?
Find me the money, and you'll be my next executive producer.
No, wasn't that Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. My second part of that question is kind of like, so for the role you're playing in Glam Mothers, what celebrity would you choose to play your role?
Damn it! Why did you
That's
ask
a hard.
that?
That's a good question. Go ahead.
Great question.
You want me to come back to it?
No, I think they can answer it. No?
Everyone's going to regret their decision when they listen to this next week.
I can't see anybody else playing these roles.
Probably
Wow.
their favorite actors could probably play those roles.
I noticed that Montreal was catering to a lot of what I call the sheep, the herd. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but that's the reality that I faced, and it was hard for me to. I'd had nudges from the industry for my performances, and yet I was always, here in Montreal, I was always reading for parts that, it was a lot of parts anyway. I would see Americans walking in for parts that I thought I could do, and I thought, well, maybe I need to become an American to work like this. So, and it pushed me to move and work at becoming. So on my own merit, I didn't have to marry anyone, and just based on the work that I had produced as an actress, I moved there and I started working.
You're an American because you have a green card, or because you're actually an American?
No. I have my passport.
Good for you.
I'm a dual citizen. So and
now we know.
It's still, but still, that doesn't solve everything, because when you get back in Montreal, everybody's looking to save money, and so the producers are looking. So we really need I'm going to say it, we need our industry, local industry, casting directors, producers that produce here, and all the industry that is based here to really try to push for productions to hire in higher positions locals, or pay them some kind of pay equity. Otherwise, you'll always get the same thing, and it's sort of what do you call it? It's idiosyncrasy of the industry.
Well, there's a lot of them.
I'm sure casting directors are stuck with also what the producers are asking, but they have to realize that the impact that it creates for the local industry. And anyway, so I get it. Now sometimes, I get paid as an American from time to time, but it really needs a lot of work, even as close to agents.
As an American?
I don't know.
As close to agents, like when you start with the people that you work closely together, they need to be open to the fact that you are trying to get paid more as well. Not because you deserve it, but because you're worth it. No? Yeah. That's
So who would play your character in the play?
It will be me.
Amazing.
Oh, great answer. That's it. Best answer.
And Jimmy Kimmel would play you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm honored.
No, but I did
tell
say
you that-
Marisa Tomei.
Oh, you did? Yes, you
No,
did.
I did say
I
Marisa.
got to tell you that this cast, for me, is like a perfect cast for this Glam Mothers play. And we've seen quite a few people.
But each one of them came in and brought in something. When you audition someone, you don't only want to see like a good actor, but you also want to see someone who can contribute right away in the character. And they were all able to do that, which is a plus, So really, seriously, I say it in front of everybody, but they're fantastic.
It's amazing. Yes.
This guy here, I'm not too sure about, but
He wrote it, so.
he's the best, man. He's the best. He's the best.
I'm going to say one more. I'm not. Tony, I just want to thank you and give you praise publicly to the fact
hands
it's
are
not
getting
going to cost
sweaty.
you
Then you
anything.
then you
Relax.
complain
Put the
about my
money
clammy
away.
hands.
Put the money away.
The money away.
No, really. What I really like about what you write is that the more we get into it, the more I discover, and the more depth and the more work I see that there is to be done. But with each performance, we feel closer and closer. And with your tweakings also, Tony, Diverdis. Yeah, congratulations, because
Thank you.
it's an art to be able to write in a way that is appealing enough for an actor to keep on wanting to look and to discover and go, oh my gosh, I still have more depth, still have more layers to go through. And I see that this is what's happening for me personally.
And if I could just add one thing, I mean, seriously, when we started workshops, there were a lot of scenes that were very emotional, and we all got choked up. I'm getting choked up now, sorry. But, you know, we haven't even reached the performance level that the play needs, and we still, and when we hit those scenes...
They cry like babies.
I can't even.
They cry like babies, I'm telling you.
I don't know. I'm really sorry for her that this happened.
It's the way he writes it. It's beautiful.
It's truly,
It's just so universal. Anybody can come and understand it. Like, you don't have to be Italian.
No.
I mean, I read it.
I don't know how you got in through the cracks there, but...
No, I
She got in because she was excellent. That's why she got in.
I remember, thank you. I remember reading it before the audition in a coffee shop in St. Henry, and like, you know, when you're like, oh my God.
It's a very moving play, but it's got a lot of humor in there too, which is part of life, you know, humor and emotions, and really, really, really beautiful.
When you see it, you'll see what I mean.
It's a dramedy, definitely, but I would say if there's one message that we also want, aside from all the information that people shared, on a note, if you want to help us the night of the play, come with your good disposition. You will laugh for sure, but please don't come with those plastic Kleenex. Do bring your handkerchief. Bring with your Kleenex, but don't let it be in plastic. Take it out, put it in your purse so you can not make noise, because for sure, if you don't cry during this play, I'll come and cook for you at your house.
You heard it here first.
Good luck.
That's like the perfect way to end this. I have one last question.
Okay.
And it's, do any of you have like some sort of weird juju before you go on stage? Like, do you do something that's like a ritual?
They're all very superstitious.
Well,
yeah, it's like you can't say a word in the theater, and I'm not going to say the word
right.
in the theater because it's very bad luck. I'll tell you when we get outside the theater.
No.
Yeah. You're not going to say
Said
it.
it yet?
No.
I know what it is. It the same thing you don't say before an audition?
No.
Oh.
Fuck.
This you probably want to do.
We would never open if it was that.
I'm not going to tell them my rituals because they'll all quit.
Oh God, this has been amazing. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Any last words? Like, the show is running at the CLDV from January 15th to the 26th.
That's Natasha's department.
You can get your tickets at the LCDV.
You see, you fucked it up again.
You messed up.
No,
That's right.
LCDV.
CLDV.
CLDV.
CLDV. French,
You
that's
know,
right.
It's the Leonardo
The
da
C
Vinci
comes
Center. Just get them there. Come get the tickets.
And come to the show. It's almost sold out. I don't know
And
what you're
please
waiting
don't
for.
be naked.
No.
And don't bring Kleenex.
I
That
can
makes
get
no
away
sense.
with jokes like that
bring
because they
Kleenex,
know
but
me.
just not the plastic ones.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
was going to make another joke about
Go
the
into
Kleenex,
your
but
Glam
I
Mother's-
really get into trouble, so forget it.
go into the Glam and into your Glam Mother's drawer.
Yeah.
Glam Mother.
Yeah, you see,
And get
that's good.
one of those, antique cotton handkerchief.
And speaking of Kleenex,
Now get the fuck out of here because we got work to do.
we got work to do.
Get out of here.